Welcome, blessed soul family. I am the magical medium, and welcome to the spiritual guidance channel. Today, we are going to be working with the new moon in Pisces energy. And today isn't just any other day. Today is a moon day. And as you know, I was born on a moon day on a Monday. So it's my favorite day to do spirit work, and I get really excited when certain lunar events take place on these special days, because today is not just a new moon in Pisces on a moon day, but it's also a super moon. Yes, beautiful friends, it's a super moon, which means that the moon is really close to the earth, and even though it's not being illuminated, it still enhances our darkness. So though I wasn't surprised that this deck wanted to come in today, I was rather excited because this deck, I have tried to give this deck away. I've tried to use it so many times. So I'm like, oh, that'd be perfect. They're like, nope. And it's kind of like the Divine Feminine Oracle. It's like it comes out once or twice a year. You know, maybe one day I'll pass it on to another literary witch. But yeah, it's very exciting. It's very beautiful. I don't know how much we're going to get into the deck itself. But I definitely, meaning like earlier I was thinking, I don't even remember, like I know that the deck, all the cards are based on very famous literary icon women, witches. I believe they're all women. I'm almost 100%. See what I mean? I haven't used it. And so I don't use it all the time. It says it's written by, I don't know if I'm saying this right or wrong, Tasia Kadaskia. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry if I butchered that. And then illustrated by Katie Horan. So those sound like female identified names, but I'm not 100%. So if we are going to go into the deck, like to explain this deck and why it came to be and all that, I'm excited. I hope we do. But if it doesn't, maybe it's meant for you to research on your own. Maybe you've been wanting a new deck to play with. But I do know that when I have used it, it's been women. In my experience, it's been all female identified literary witches. And I believe that they themselves were either identified, or that these people in the deck either see them as witches or know them as witches, as mediums, or if they're gone and passed over, maybe they've spoke to them. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know, but I'm curious now. I'm very, very curious. So today we have a few different themes that we're going to work with. I don't know which one's going to make it to the top, but I have a feeling it's going to be where we once stood, because these are the three quotes that came to me. They were actually either on the album cover or the title of the song when I was in meditation getting this together. And the first one was "Where We Once Stood." The second was "A Lovely Place to Be." And the last was "So Flows the Current." And how apropos when we're talking about the Pisces energy, the water energy. The moon itself represents water emotions, and we're in the super moon, so our emotions are heightened. I had a huge blowout with my husband last night, and I'm only saying that's like that nervous laughter where, like, you realize the next day, like, in the moment you feel so right. You're like, I am right, I am correct. And maybe you are, but how we handle things is a little different. And so I realize like how much I am influenced by the energy of the moon. And if you are as well, when I looked down, it was 355. So that's our angel number for you to research on your own if you're so inclined. If you're new here, welcome. If you're coming back, thank you so much for returning. But when I spout out numbers, animals, any type of things, it's for you to research on your own if it pings in your intuition, right? Just like on the front cover of this, we have wolves. They asked me to start in the dark, but we can come up now. But we have wolves. Ooh, okay, there we go. I'm going to let them do. Okay. Ooh, when I looked down, it was 431. Also, 355 was the number 13, and 341 is the number 8, and 13 and 8 were coming up like crazy when I was putting this together. So maybe you've been seeing lots of 8s. They also stand for infinity. The number 13, which is the number of the goddess, it's also good fortune. And if you add it together, it's the number 4, about stability, foundation. It's also half of 8. So very, 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 very interesting. We're getting a lot of downloads already from Spirit, but on the cover we have wolves and we have hummingbirds. So if those, like, that's a little wink wink from Spirit to you to let you know that you're here for a reason, that you're on the right path, that you're doing the right things, that everything is good. But to remember that, thank you, Pisces season is the 12th house. We are at the end of the astrological year. So it feels a little fucked up, right? It feels like, it's like, gosh, isn't this supposed to be a new year? Isn't this supposed to be better? But if we are witches and we are following along the astrological, the earth plane, things like that, you will notice that there are lots of ebbs and flows and new beginnings and endings all throughout the calendar cycle. If you live in a place that experiences 4 different seasons, right? You're in there for a reason. Right now, in this moment, it is Monday, February 20th, 2023. Okay. So we are in the last month now of winter going into spring, or summer going into fall. We have both hemispheres in this tribe. So, with that being said, Spirit wants us to remember why we are here, what we're doing, and not to concern ourselves so much of like, why isn't this new year taking off for me, or why isn't this happening? It's because we're in the 12th house, witches. We're at the end of it. Whatever you identify with is fine. But I am the leader of the witches, the healers, and the deep down believers in this tribe. Just in this tribe, there's lots of tribes out there. There are lots of leaders. We are all doing our own thing. But I am self-possessed to keep this channel going through Spirit every day. Even though I don't say the words out loud, how may I serve? I know that that is part of my journey and part of my duty. And if you are looking for a path or wondering like what you're meant to do, you are meant to be here today for a reason. Because the new moon is about thanking the old energy that we just came out of. Thank you, Aquarian moon. We bow to you, the Aquarius energy. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all the lessons, for that air, for the water bringing us into the water bringer, get it? Bringing us into the Pisces, the water energy, where we need to just flow out the end of this, not just this, the moon cycle of Aquarius, but into Pisces, but also allowing this last month of the astrological year to just flow. Spirit wants us to think of the Piscean energy as like the rest and restore energy of the 8th moon phase, right? Where we're done. Even though right now it's the beginning, it's still darkness, right? If you go outside, the new moon has not occurred. Or excuse me, okay. Woo! We're in the new moon energy, but like it's an energy, right? So it's flowing. So yes, we're in the new moon, but we're just like transitioning from one moon cycle to the other. So they're saying take it easy, take that flow. We're still in that rest and restore energy, but I feel like they want us to stay in that all through till the end of Pisces season. Let me get an exact date for you in the calendar. Yeah, there's a lot. It's interesting too because we're in the new moon in Pisces, right? And then we'll be in the waxing crescent, first quarter moon, and then we'll be in the waxing gibbous, and then the full moon in Virgo, which is the worm moon is March 7th, 2023. And just in the beginning of that week, or excuse me, at the end of that week, beginning the next week, is spring. We will be springing forward, right? For those of you who like change your clocks. And then we have all the moon cycles basically. But then we have, there it is. Then we have Aries season beginning on Ostara on March 20th. So literally a month from today. So for the next month, whenever you watch this, it's timeless, of course. So Spirit's just saying for yourself, give yourself a month. So give yourself this last month of the astrological year to just flow, relax. And some of you are in this dark night of the soul energy. You're at the end of the toothpaste, right? You're like, you're squeezing that last bit out. That's okay. That's where you're supposed to be, because when Aries season starts and that fire comes in, we're going to get that fire under our butts, and it's going to be, spring or fall, depending on where you are. And we're either going to be planting the seeds or reaping the harvest. But either way, it's going to be the action energy of fire. So take this water energy to just flow, just relax, kick back at 10:03 when I look down. I feel like that means something to you guys too. Like maybe you keep seeing the clock at 10:03, which it could be in the morning or at night. I just saw 10:11 as well. And those could be angel numbers as well. You can put it in as an angel number 10:11. You can smush them together and just say 111. Maybe you see 111 a lot, the angel numbers. But definitely in this tribe, we have a lot of gifts. So don't just don't tether yourself, or as they say, pigeonhole yourself. I don't know what that really means, but I believe it means like, don't hold just like one thing to your breast, like put other things like out into the world as well. Just keep scattering your seeds until, you see what's blossoming and what's growing. And with each moon cycle, that's what we're really doing. We're just planting the seeds. We're like, okay, in this moon cycle, I would like this to happen. And this moon cycle, I would like to see what this happens and blah, blah, you know what I mean? And then you put it out there. And then throughout the moon cycle, either those things will start happening and you're like, oh, that's cool. Or you'll see a sign for something that is like, yeah, you may have to go through 12 more moon cycles to, get something to grow. And recently, Spirit had me write this down in one of my coloring books one day, but it was so rad because the other day I was coloring, and all of a sudden I looked at it, and it's like, I'm like, it says the mandrake takes 3 years to blossom, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I was like, it's the mandrake plant. So that's also for us to research the energy of the mandrake plant, okay? Work with the mandrake plant energy. So maybe there's something that in this new moon cycle, you want to plant the seeds, but realistically, it's going to take about 3 years to grow. And then they're like, then just go with the flow of that instead of controlling it and trying to make it be what you want it to be. That's why we were fighting last night. We were fighting because we keep trying to change the narrative. We're the literary witches in our lives, and we're trying to change the narrative. We keep trying to fucking change the narrative of the book instead of, it's like if you looked at a novel, right? It's like you read the beginning of the novel. And did you ever read those kind of novels where they start out at the end of the story? And they're like, let me tell you what happened. And you're like, oh shit, dude. Yeah, like what happened? How did this get to this? And, because like maybe they're fighting or something's happening. And then you're like, wow, these guys must be enemies. But then all of a sudden they say something, like, we were best friends since we were kids. What happened? Or what happened to us? And then they're like, whoa, shit, I thought that was their mortal enemy. What? Who is that person? You know what I mean? And then you want to read more about it. This is also to our literary witches. This is a wink, wink. Take this time, this next month to write. Maybe it's time for you to go off the grid. Maybe it's time for you to really go inward and like cut yourself off from the world. When I looked down, it was 1255, which is another angel number, but fucking 13. Right? That's the goddess number. That is the divine feminine speaking to us. This is a divine feminine energy on this book, right? On this literary book, this literary witches. It is a gorgeous goddess energy. And look at all, like, she's got the earth around her. She's got the spirit animals around her. This means something. This means something for all of us. So if your energy is super heightened, if you are having arguments or things are happening, it's because of the supermoon. Just because we can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. Not only that, but think about this. When a supermoon happens on a full moon, it just really illuminates everything, right? Like all of a sudden it's like you see shit you didn't even know you fucking needed to see, but you're like, oh, well, there it is, I guess spirit needed me to see that, right? And you did. You needed to see that. It needed to be done. You needed to like rip off the Band-Aid and see what's happening, But when we're in a dark moon like this, in a new moon, it's enhancing the darkness. It's shown us what's what. And that's hard to see sometimes, right? It's hard to see that part of ourselves that isn't so pretty, right? That isn't so flattering. But it's shit we got to see. The things that we said to each other yesterday weren't so pleasant, but they needed to be said. And I even, said, I'm like, I know what's happening here. Like, I am sorry. Like, literally, I'm sorry. But at the same time, I'm like, I feel like if we don't talk about this stuff, I'm tired of the niceties. right? Because we can only be so nice until the niceties aren't, it's like it's too pleasant, right? When you're in those relationships or, friendships, family, work, whatever, where it's like, both of you are just being really nice to each other, but you like, if this was a different energy in a different time in a different place, like the claws would be off. You would be fucking dueling it out with each other. You'd be tearing each other down, right? And you're like, wait, what happened? We used to be best friends. What's happening here? I'm having my aha moment. Are you? But it's okay. Because the other thing that we need to talk about is the inner child. And the inner child must be heard, must be expressed, must be talked about because it's real. Because when we're wounded, when we're children, that's not an easy wound to just jump back from. Because we are in that little fragile space of being littles. We're growing organically. We're little sponges. We are born of love. We are made of love. And bit by bit, that love is beaten out of us. And for some of us, our innocence is taken early through means of selfishness, arrogance, ego, deviant behavior, entitlement behavior, third world old energy behavior, right? We're not slaves. And for those of you who've made your way here today, we are witches, we are healers, and we are deep down believers, and we come from love, we come from light, and we are here to fight, and we are not here to back down. We are witches, damn it. So don't let anybody douse your fire. Even in this water energy, we need to keep those inner fires burning, that intuition. The Piscean energy is all about intuition, going inward, dreams. What are your dreams? What are your aspirations? What's your dream? Everybody's got a dream. What's your dream? What's your dream? Yeah. Dreams unwind. Love's a state of mind. Yes. Thank you, Stevie. I believe those are the lyrics. That's what came out. So we are also in creative energy, a flow energy. So take this time to you. Whether you live in the northern or the southern hemisphere, it's the end of winter and it's the end of summer, and you have every fucking right to say, I have decided that I am taking a month off. I'm taking a sabbatical. And maybe you still have to go to your job, but maybe you take a sabbatical from friends, family, the internet. Maybe you just take some time for you. What do you need? What does your soul require? What is holding you back from your highest self, from your mission here on earth? Also, we had some T tags and I felt like they wanted to come out. So I'm going to just, whatever one flips, and it might be more than one, but whatever one, I'm just going to hold them, and then whatever one flips up, then those are the words we need. Oh, see how this one, it's the back of it, but it's still kind of cool because I feel like this is regal and maybe we need to see this for some reason. Okay, so not that one, not that one. So this is our, I don't believe I'll be able to get it in there. So it says, ooh, the unknown. You learn more from failure than from success. Yes, we learn more from failure than we do from success. Isn't that the truth? Of course we do. And each time we fall down, we learn something new about ourselves, our strength, how strong we really are, actually, how resilient we are. And if we go with the flow, but if we go with the ego and we're like, fuck, I tried again and it didn't work. It's like, well, it's not going to keep working if you're going from that angle. You know what I mean? When my channel really started to grow, or this channel, I feel like I'm the custodian for the channel and spirit calls me the magical medium. But I feel like when this started to really evolve and grow was when 1923, that might be a year for some of you too. I feel past life energy. And look at her outfit too. She kind of like that lace around her collar and her hair kind of reminds me of like, the 20s. Anyway, I know it's from a different time period, but go with it. So that means something for somebody because the past life deck was calling to me too, but Spirit said not today. So I really feel like that was the message they were trying to give. So there is something there. It could be for all of us. Oh gosh, what I looked down was 1947. Okay, so these are serious years. I feel like it doesn't even matter what I was saying. If it's meant to come back around, it will. Wow, powerful. You're all so powerful. So let's take a moment. Let's close our eyes and get grounded before we start pulling cards. Spirit, thank you. Galactica is here. I'm not going to channel her though, but she is present. I'm not feeling up to the task and she understands and she agrees. I'm going through my own stuff and I really don't like to channel heavy, intense, beautiful, heavy in a good way. Like Galactica is, for those of you who are new here, Galactica is one of the 9 that I am aware of from the Galactic Council. I've been working with Galactica all of my life. I just didn't understand who she was or what was happening. But we are her and she is us, but she's definitely from the Divine Feminine realm of the 9. And so she is here to work with us today. And if there are any messages that are coming through, I will be translating for her. Otherwise, let's just take a few minutes and some breaths. Let's ground and center ourselves. Get comfortable. It's okay to move around. Get comfortable. Stretch if you need to stretch. We call upon the Divine Feminine energy. We call upon the witches, the healers, and the deep down believers, the ancestral witches. Thank you for being here today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The angels, the healers, and the deep down believers. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As above, so below. We are blessed. Please go with the flow. Welcome water energy, welcome Piscean energy. We call upon the Reiki energy. For those of you who would like to receive some Reiki energy, this is a gift from Spirit. This is a gift from Spirit. All you have to say is, I accept this healing energy from the universe. If your walls are up, that's up to you. No one has to take anything unless they want to, okay? So we call on the Divine Feminine energy, the Reiki healing energy, the healing energies of the universe. We ask that you align and center our bodies, our minds, our souls, our chakras, our auric field. We ask that you heal us from the inside out and the outside in. Thank you for this divine healing today, Spirit. We feel your energy. Thank you, thank you, thank you, literary witches of old, of new, those who wish to channel through. Thank you, Spirit. Relax, breathe, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down, young one, slow down. Slow down, young of mind, young of heart, young of soul. You are blessed here by the ancestors, so let it flow, let it go. That pain in your back, set it free. You're carrying it with you. Let it be. Set it free. Set it free. Yeah, let the darkness flow in and out. Let it go. It's part of you, don't you know? Feel the fire, feel the flame in your blood, within your veins. Channeling Spirit, let it flow. Divine Spirit, let it go. You don't have to have the answers just yet, my pet. Let it go, let it flow. Look at that. How's everybody doing? Oh my gosh. They're still here. When I looked down, it was 2404, which is also the number 10. So endings and new beginnings. Drink some water. So here we go. Yes, the light is here. And I've also been losing my voice, and I feel like there's this darkness that I can't explain. I mean, now you hear it going through my voice and in my brain. Oh, fuck. But it's here for a purpose, and it's here for a reason, and it's only here for a temporary season. So open yourselves to the guidance and the love of the spirit that's flowing from up above. Don't be scared. It's coming quick. It's right here. And that's why you feel sick. Because it's in your house and it's in your home. The darkness that you let roam. You are your temple. You are your house. Look at the selenite piece to the left. It resembles this house. And these words, you learn more from failure than success. Why do you want to win so badly? Why do you want to win so badly? It isn't a war. It isn't a race. Home isn't a place. It's a space between your ears and your heart and in your soul. And I'm going to read you something from this book. So hold on, witches. Let's take a look. The Literary Witch's Oracle. As with tarot cards, oracle cards serve as mediums for personal reflection. The symbolism of the cards can help you interpret your experiences and focus your energy. However, while tarot decks contain 78 cards and an elaborate visual system, oracle decks have no set of number of cards and no structure to be studied. Oracle cards stand on their own and can be used one at a time to address a question or orient you from the day. They can also be read in a multiple card spread to tell a more complex story. Today, this 70-card oracle deck is based on Literary Witches, a celebration of magical women writers, a book by Tasha Kadeshka and Katie Horan that reimagines visionary women writers as witches, formidable figures of creativity and empowerment. Just as the book honors the conjuring powers of women authors throughout time, the Literary Witch's Oracle is an invitation to access and nourish your own inner witch, that wise being who knows exactly what is going on and what to do. Using the 30 author portraits from the book, The Witches, as well as 40 new paintings inspired by the book's imagery, The Witches' materials, these cards offer the presence of magical literary artists and their witchy familiars as portals to guidance and meditation. In reading these cards, the author cards in this deck, the witches, are figures wandering and brooding over an enchanted landscape. The witches' materials are creatures and objects, ghosts, eels, lanterns, and so on, haunting the landscape. Companions, talismans, or ingredients for spells. All of these beings are alive and well for you to observe and make sense of with your own powers. The words on the cards and in this booklet provide suggestions for interpretation, some purposefully contradictory, some mystic and ambiguous. In the spirit of the book and the literature, it celebrates this deck, and it plays with language and imagery and invites you to do the same as you step into and choose to bring specific questions to the cards, or just an open mind. Only your intuition can tell you what the cards truly mean, and each card can and should be read differently depending on the reader, recipient, and the situation. The possibilities expand even further in a multi-card spread where the layout creates a story, and each card contributes to the telling. Where to begin? So initiate yourself into the Literary Witch's Oracle with 2 simple layouts that follow this way. Simple card layout. Okay, so we're going to do that. How fun. Okay, I'm channeling all over the fucking place. I hope you're enjoying it because it's kind of freaking me out, but I'm just going with it because, that's just part of it. And it's not freaking me out in a bad way. It's just like, holy shit, like it's been a minute since, it's been a minute. So the house, that's what they're trying to say. So the house is one of the witch's materials. Did you understand? And so we're going to go there. Okay, so the house represents stability. Actually, I am going to go here. I feel like it's time to I knew they were going to have me put a light on at some point, but I didn't know how or when or where or what was going to happen. So here is the house. Oh gosh, it opened right up to it, you guys. Whew, shit. And these cards are have so much energy. I'm like shaky. Okay, so stability, stagnation, and family. So in this new moon, and also if you're called to any other objects in this picture, then it's meant for you. Like maybe you're a Leo and you're like, oh shit, look at that lion. Maybe you've been seeing a lot of things with light lately and you see the lantern, right? So, or the knife, like maybe you've been seeing lots of swords if you've been watching readings, things like that. Whatever you're drawn to, and if not, it's not about that. It's just about the house. But I think it's interesting because with this particular one for my situation, those of you who know my story, it's like you learn more from failure than from success. And I feel like our house situation has been happening like that for us. So, we're still grappling with a few ideas and things we're going to do, or what's going on with our home and our energy. But I have been feeling this kind of energy where I really want to protect my space and my family. I don't know if you guys are feeling that way, but I've been feeling like that. I really want to protect my house, and I feel like I'm failing at it, right? I'm like, how am I, what kind of witch am I? I can't even protect my own home from all this bullshit and this darkness. And then I realized the darkness is inside our house. It's inside of us. We still have a lot of healing to go through. And our fight last night was stuff that has been going on in our relationship for years. And when it keeps coming up, it's like you can say to yourself, you can, sit in the darkness of it and say, oh, it's okay. Everything's all right, blah, blah, blah. And Spirit's like, is it though? Is it all right? Is it? Because you can keep moving the light around and trying to shine that light into your family. You can pull the shades down when you need to, right? You can change and manipulate the lighting to make it look better, to make it look like this perfect place. But the home has been coming up a lot for our tribe over the years. Those of you who've been walking with me a long time, you know this. I said that to him last night. I said, don't you think it's interesting that we've been going through this and we've been going through that and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, and what do you think this means? And what do you think that means? And then I started to realize it's because we don't feel stable. We haven't found the stability and the light within ourselves to bring into this marriage, into this relationship. And I said, I feel like the reason why we're struggling to get the house is because we still don't have, this is a representation of, the Kundalini, the Shiva Lingam, right? The divine feminine, the divine masculine, the balance between the divine feminine and the divine masculine. When that is off, everything is off, especially in the home. And even if you just live by yourself, look at the yin yang energy. That's what Pisces is all about, right? The yin and yang energy, the two fish, right? And fishes are about intuition and going inward, looking deep within the water. What do you see in the sea, right? The Piscean water, a lot of, representation of mermaids for Pisces. If you haven't looked in my shorts, go check out my shorts because I just did a little happy birthday thing to the Pisces. And also for Rihanna, happy birthday, Rihanna. Goddess Rihanna, we love her. And so there's a lot of things that are changing on the planet, and we're really noticing that. And I love that these really powerful and impactful energies and entities like Rihanna, and I can go on and on, different, celebrities, people who are in the public eye, Pink, who have these magical, children who are going to do a lot of really important things, and they're seeing through the eyes of their parents what's happening. They're going to be the ones that were really born in the age of technology and all of that, right? So they're going to have so much to give us and so much to bring us. And goddess bless the Pisces. The Aquarians and the Pisces are of more of the rare of the signs, right? And so when I saw they said that Rihanna was the most famous Pisces on the planet, I thought that's so interesting because I believe Justin Bieber is too. And I'm like, I guess it's all perception. But I am not that I'm against Justin Bieber. I'm sure he's a lovely person, but it's not like I listen to his music, so I'm not going to pretend like, you know what I mean, and put him in my shorts. Where Rihanna in my shorts, that sounds so funny, but um, but whereas Rihanna, like I remember the first time I heard her voice, and I was like, it was like an echo through my fucking soul. And even though I haven't like followed them like precisely through their career, I mean that umbrella song that I used for that really, you know, I wish they would let me use more than 15 seconds, but that's okay. You get the picture. You know, but I feel like that's what the Pisceans want us to do. I mean, they're the 12th house. They're the last house of the zodiac. I mean, come on, even that spirit is like coming through. This was a magical reading. I had a feeling last night, my husband and I, like, we broke each other open, and not in all the prettiest ways. And I was really frustrated, and I was really sad and angry, but at the same time, you know, things had to come out. Things had to come out of the darkness, and they needed to be discussed, and they needed to be talked about. Because if we don't express ourselves, it's like we can be the light all day long like this and be illuminated for everybody and be like, look at us, look at how bright. Oh, that everything's great, everything's wonderful. But yet inside we're like in this like super like heavy, like dark shadow. And, you know, we're just barely, our flames barely flickering inside, you know. And if we keep giving and giving and giving and giving and giving, then we're never going to find our true selves. So we have a message, oh my gosh, of course, from Charlotte Perkins Gilman. And look at that word. Representation is freedom. I mean, I just want you to look at this card for a minute too. Just look at it. There's so many things going on. Look at all the different imagery, the pictures. Now that we know that's her name, and freedom. And I'm actually going to even bring this light in just a little bit more here so we can really see the image. Okay. So I feel like if we're meant to bring the house back, we will. But I feel like right now, like I want to give her the props that she deserves. You know what I mean? I'm feeling this. And also I'm hearing like where she's like, look at that freedom, right? Like you don't need all of this. You don't need all of this. You know, she's like, you are divinely protected. You know, you don't need this. You don't need to be reminded, you know, like, you know what I mean? So let's leave that for a second while we go into the book. Okay. Oh, when I look down, it was 3703, which is also a form of 13. I mean, I love it. Okay, so freedom. Keywords are freedom, oppression, what frees you, and the systems at work. Charlotte Perkins Gilman, 1860 to 1935, thank you, beautiful soul, is best known for The Yellow Wallpaper, a story inspired by the disastrous sexist rest cure, in quotes, prescribed for her postpartum depression. Oh, okay. In her day, Gilman was also famous as a social critic, giving popular lectures on economic and social reform and for her unconventional life choices. Her utopian novels and nonfiction are worth revisiting for their visions of a cooperative society and the place of gender roles in economics. So, for those of you who love to read, our literary witches, like our readers, I highly suggest that you look up Charlotte Perkins Gilman. Maybe you know who she is already. Please feel free to comment and say anything about them. But this is really powerful. I just got the chills all over my body. I feel like we're all meant to like research her more. So that's part of our homework for this new moon cycle is, and maybe she's like our hero. Let's see if there's any other, oh, this one, like, oh my gosh. From the deck, Emily Bronte, of course, fantasy. Also, I'm getting interesting. Okay, hold on one second. Whoa. So when I just looked down, it was 3838, which is also 1111. Oh my gosh, you guys. We are a powerful tribe, aren't we? Also, okay, so obviously this is the front cover, right? Emily Bronte. And before I didn't realize that like her, you know what I mean? Like her hands are down there and it's like the wolves and you know what I mean? You can see a close up of this now. But I just think it's really interesting that I never noticed, at least I don't remember her holding a house. So how fucking crazy is that? That like we pulled the house card and then we pulled Emily Bronte and she's holding a house. And the keywords for Charlotte and Emily are freedom and fantasy. I mean, this is really powerful, you guys. I mean, what were they saying? You know, like in the 12th house, like going inward, right? It's like in our house, and also for our cancers, you know, we can learn a lot from that cancer energy about going inward into our shell, like loving our house, loving, you know, that also represents our bodies, you know, our actual avatars that our souls reside in, and taking better care of them. So, ooh, and the dwelling. Okay, so here are the keywords to Emily Bronte. Bronte. Dwelling, indulging, and hiding in fantasy. Emily Bronte, 1818 to 1848, spent her uneventful life at the family home on the moors. She created fantasy worlds with her brilliant sisters, Charlotte and Anne, brushed the carpet, and took walks in the hills. Oh my gosh, so I just realized Charlotte. Get it? Like Charlotte Perkins Gilman. We have Charlotte Perkins Gilman, and then Emily has a sister named Charlotte. That's interesting. Okay, but I don't think no, they wouldn't be no, because they wouldn't be in the same age, right? I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, no, because she was born in 1860. Wait, no, no, okay. I just want to make sure. Sorry, sorry. It was like I just had to. Anyway, okay, so she spent her uneventful life at the family home on the moors, blah, blah, blah. She created fantasy worlds with her brilliant sisters, Charlotte and Anne, brushed the carpet, and took walks in the hills. After her death of tuberculosis at the age of 30, she achieved posthumous fame for Wuthering Heights, a vicious novel of romance between two isolated, stormy characters, Catherine and Heathcliff. And interesting. Yeah. So just goes to show, you know what I mean? It's like you never know like what's going to happen there. But I mean, come on, like what are the chances? So, I mean, this is a big deal. They want us to clean up our house on the inside and the outside, and to like, you know what I mean? Get rid of things too. I feel like as we go into the new astrological year in Aries, 41, 24, and then 25, I feel like they want us to really leave behind all of those things that no longer belong in our house and our mind, our house and our soul, and our actual dwelling. And maybe it's even our actual dwelling that we're going to need to leave. You know what I mean? Oh, okay. So the cards just flew everywhere. Let me just make sure. Sometimes they do that because they're being dramatic about it. Like I see two on the floor that are upright. Let's see. Oh, we have more than two. Let's see if they want us to use all of these cards. Okay, hang in there because we're already at 4158. Okay, do we want to use any of these cards, Spirit? Okay, do we want to use any of these cards? Oops, here we go. Do we have any more messages for the new moon in Pisces energy? Also, remember when they had us write, or they had me write where we once stood? I will do a screenshot and I'll post it somewhere, either in my shorts or in the community section. But that song, Where We Once Stood, literally the cover of that, I know that song really well. The cover of that, there's a house on it. And I just fucking remembered that. That's super intense. So there's a lot going on with like, we need to like work on, I feel like in this new moon in Pisces, it's going to be different for all of us, but you know, we've got a little time to think about it until we get to the second moon phase of setting our intentions. Cause the first moon phase, this moon phase, the new moon, it's just like, you know, we're kind of coasting, right? Because we're coming out of one energy and we're going into another energy. Just like we just went out of Aquarian season into Pisces season. Now we're 2 days full into Pisces season, a good 48 hours in, I believe now, you know, and so by the time I'm doing this reading, so I feel like that's what they just want us to do, you know, just like kind of coast through. You can set intentions, but you know, it's different for everybody, but it really is about like, what do we need to change in our house? And also for some of us, look, if you're really into astrology, go and you can find this out. You can go to cafeastrology.com. There's tons of different ones you can use, but it's whatever one that you are drawn to. But look up and find out where your 12th house is. You know, what's in your 12th house, right? And also see where Pisces is on your chart. And maybe those are the things for us to focus on individually, because all of our charts are a blueprint for our own story. So maybe it's for us to really align with that. Also, I'm feeling like this year, last year was learning about the moon cycles and the energies around them. This year, I feel like we're going to learn more about the moon itself. So I don't know when or how that's going to come to be. But when I was researching more about the supermoon today, There was more I wanted to share with you, but I kind of felt like they were like, you know what, not right now, but like, yes, this is for you to like further research, if that makes any sense. Also, the other statement or the other quote that they gave us at the beginning was a lovely place to be, our home, right? We want our home to be a lovely place to be. And look at here. I feel like she's over here by themselves, right? She's like looking over here and she wants this home. She's like looking for this home. She's manifesting this home. And here Emily's like, I've got the home. You know, and if you look at how interesting this is, she wants freedom. Maybe she doesn't want to, you know, maybe freedom for her is her own home. And on the other hand, we've got Emily who is like her home was like her prison, right? Because she didn't want to leave it or she couldn't leave it. I don't remember the whole story. I did watch one of those movies where they made about her story. I don't remember now the whole thing, so don't quote me. Those of you who know Bronte really well. And she's done a lot more than Wuthering Heights as well, so you may just want to research it. But really, really fascinating. It kind of reminds me of Little Women as well, like that kind of energy. You know, Jo Marsh, I believe is her name. And Little Women, I'm kind of getting that vibe too. Maybe some of you, you're feeling really old, but look at and see how like I almost feel like they're the same age. But like if you look at this card, they gave her more like she looks a little older, right? Almost this little wrinkle, the little crow's feet there. And then we've got Emily is like all like fresh face, dew face, you know what I mean? No wrinkles. Beautiful. But I feel like some of you, your situation or your house is aging you and you need to get out of it. I feel like that for myself. I mean, I said, I'm like, well, if we are meant to, you know, move forward and get a house and do all these things, I said this to my husband last night. I said, well, then I guess, you know, maybe this is like the very end of it. And that's why we're fighting. And, you know, we're just like, because you just get to a point where you're like, I'm just done. I can't do with anything, you know, and that's what endings are all about. Because once we have that breakthrough, then the new beginning comes. And our last quote was, so flows the current. And that, my friends, I believe is the end of our reading. Oh, okay, just when you think that it's over, this one practically flew out. So we've got freedom, we've got fantasy, and rebellion. And for some of you, it's like, this is time for you to rebel, right? Like it's time for you to break out. Also, they had me bring in some branches today and look at how the branches align with her. She's got branches here. So I'm feeling like for our tribe, like getting outdoors is really the key here and not allowing other things to interfere. Also, I felt like this selenite wanted to talk to us and the pyrite, any of the crystals that came through, or if there are any that you were interested in, let me know and I'll go back. But I feel like, you know, this freedom for some of you is it's like it's being covered. Like somebody's paying your way because we've got green calcite and we've got pyrite in front of your freedom. So I feel like somebody is kind of like blocking your chi or blocking your freedom, and you need to find out what that is. And it might just be that like you need to heal that, right? Like it has nothing to do with the other person. They just happen to be there. When we had our fight last night, I was like, you know, going through well, I'm perfect, right? Like it's all him. And then I started pulling cards, and then I was getting this codependent, you know, then I got the narcissist empath relationship, and I'm like, yep. And that's what we are. So if you're in a narcissist empath relationship, if at least, you know, in my situation, he understands he's a narcissist, I'm trying to help him even more. And last night we were talking about that. I was like, you know, when it gets to that point where it feels like that darkness is like seeping in, I'm like, that's where you have to take control. I'm like, it's not my job. I go, because as an empath, then I start taking it in, right? And it's like, I feel like these are eyes, right? And it's like the evil eye comes upon us. But we need those evil eyes. We need that because it's also look at how bright those aren't bloodshot, worn, torn eyes. Those are loving eyes that have rested. So, you know, it could just be that maybe your person, your partner, or whomever you're dealing with in this situation, I feel like this is kind of going to love relationship because they're having me bring in mine. But I'm hearing it's because, you know, they're making you feel like this. But no one can actually make us feel like this. We can only allow them to let us feel like this, right? Like this is learned behavior. This whole relationship is learned behavior. So her name is Farukhzad. I believe that is her name. Beautiful goddess. And let's look at this card a little bit closer. Oh my gosh. Look at that bird. Is that a raven? No, it kind of looks like a pigeon. Wouldn't that be funny? Because I was talking about pigeons earlier. Okay, so independence. So take a look at this imagery, whatever it means to you, because it's going to be different for everybody. So the keywords are rebellion, independence, barriers, and isolation. Okay. Excuse me. Throat chakra and speaking your truth, even if it hurts you and them. Did you ever have your parents say, this is going to hurt me worse than it's going to hurt you? It's kind of like that too. Sometimes you got to say to them, I know this is going to be hurtful and painful for you to hear, but you need to hear this. You know, you need to hear this. Also, I think it's awesome that Emily's still holding a house so we can like see that. And here, look at, she's like inside her house. Like she's got this, like these walls and this moat up around her. So this is very interesting. She can easily open this door and let herself out, or it looks like she can even crawl out. But like, why is she being held there? Let's find out. So Farouq Saad, 1935 to 1967, oh, bless her beautiful heart, wrote sensual, nature-rich poetry, placing her among Iran's greatest poets. Wow. Gosh, love her. Rebellion. Heavily criticized for resisting social norms or societal norms, Farouq Saad, divorced at 21 years old, was the first Persian poet to write explicitly about sexuality. Yeah, girl, you go. Worked as a documentary filmmaker. Check out the award-winning The House is Black. Yes, now we all must do this. And adopted a son from a leper colony. Oh my gosh, I love her so much. Some believe that, oh, I just got the chills. Some believe that she, excuse me, prophesized her accidentally early death in a car crash in the poem Let Us Believe in the Beginning of the Cold Season. Wow. When I looked down, it was 5057, which is also the number 17. Ooh, for some of our tribe members, that means something. But if you put it together, it's the number 8. And there we are, back to that number 8 again, right? Because what goes around comes around. And karma is very real. So yes, we need to put our independence out there and show the world that we are not here to play small. We are here to fight. We've got Where We Once Stood, a lovely place to be, and so flows the current. So I feel like Where We Once Stood is Charlotte Perkins Gilman, and I feel like a lovely place to be is Emily Bronte, which is home and in fantasy, right? So Where We Once Stood was freedom. Oh, I get it, Spirit. Okay. Are you following this? This is so powerful because they're keywords, right? So let's start again. So Charlotte is freedom, Where We Once Stood. Then we have, no, we go here and then to the middle. I got you. Then we have a lovely place to be, fantasy, which means like you can live in a fantasy, playing fantasy in your house, but if it's not real and you're living in some Stockholm syndrome bullshit, you are going to blow. Things are going to like surface. I am telling you from personal experience. That's why they're having me share it with you. And the end is rebellion. So flows the current. And I almost heard like currant, like I saw red wine. So I feel like for some of you too, like you may even be drinking too much, so it's clouding your judgment, or there's someone around you who's drinking a lot of red wine, that their judgment is clouded, and you are trying so hard to fight and help them work through this. But I'm hearing, you know what, until they are actually ready to work through it themselves, there's nothing you can do. Oh my gosh. And just when I think it's over, we have wildflowers. We have wildflowers. I was like, I'm going to bring this out, and I don't care if you see my window thing because I feel like this is all meant to be. Wildflowers. And the house, Emily Bronte can stand for the house. So the last time I paused, it said 5258, which is also the number 20. And twos are about duality, so interesting. Okay, so wildflowers means renewal, romance, and awakening. And I feel like this is our own personal romance with ourselves and our own like deepening of our spiritual awakening. If you have found yourself here, you are already woke, as they say. You have already awakened. You may not know exactly who you are or where you're going yet, but you know exactly like something is special, something's different about you. So yeah, I love that. I love that the wildflowers is the end because we have freedom, rebellion, renewal, and fantasy. And Spirit's saying they want us to live in the fantasy. That's what literary is all about, right? You're writing books. I mean, some people write about reality and some people write about fantasy. So whatever works for you is what works for you, you know? But the romance and the awakening, I feel like, you know, For some of you, I feel like the romance is not lost. It is absolutely savable, but there are a lot of things that are going to have to change between the two of you. And this is, I'm giving, I'm heeding this advice for myself too, that something has to change, and you know it and they know it. And it may even mean that you have to take a mild separation, or maybe a longer separation, like maybe like 6 weeks or 6 months. I kept seeing the number 6 last night for myself, and I was like, I don't know if that meant 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months. And I thought, okay, I'm like, maybe I should look into doing, I've done this before where I house sit, or, I go on like these little journeys, these little sabbaticals. So whatever I'm called to do, I know I'll do. But I feel like that for you guys too. Like maybe it's time for you to kind of pull back a little bit, 54, 58, so that you can, feel that freedom again, feel that rebellion, feel that fantasy within you, so that you can be the light worker, the witch, the healer that you are meant to be, whatever terminology you align with. Okay, so, and also the last one, they told me I don't even have to go into it too much, because they're saying, if not, you're going to be like a volcano and you're going to burst and you're going to erupt at some point. And Spirit's saying, and if that's what you need to do in your cycle, in your world, then that's what's going to happen. If not, you know what I mean? It's like they're saying, like, this is preventative, but they're like, don't, do you hear it? Speak your truth. Don't just go spouting off at the mouth like a volcano. You can speak your truth with grace and love. This was to me too, because I was not very graceful and loving last night. And even though in some ways you could say, oh, I had a right to like say certain things, I don't though, because I can't tell somebody that I forgive them and I'm moving on and then still punish them for being who they are. Oh my gosh, cauldron. Isn't that interesting? Yes. So even though this is the new moon, I'm hearing for some of you, it's time to burn away some excess energy that no longer needs to be there. Like maybe you and your partner need to go somewhere. Like I got that for me too. So I'm going to tell him that when he comes home. But like I kind of got the vibe that it's time to like go out into nature and like maybe build a bonfire, or, do like a little fire in your cauldron and write down all the things that you really want to release and let go from this whole entire astrological year, and just let the Piscean energy work through you so that you can start a brand new year when Aries comes around. All right, Spirit, do we have any more? Okay, no, now they're tight. All right. Oh, this one fell out. Oh, but this is, okay, so a few of them fell out, but I feel like they want me to do them for shorts, so look forward to that. All right, you guys, I love you so much. I hope this helped you in any way. I know this was a long one, 56:46, but it was needed. It really was needed. This is what was needed. All of this was needed for all of us today. So I hope it helps you in any way on your journey. Until next time, take really good care of yourselves and each other. Blessed be. Aho.